Hi, I'm Anne from Foodstand. You might know me as at Ann Food.
And hey, I'm Rachna Gavani from Foodstand. You'll know me as at Rachna.
We asked you for questions and we have a bunch of answers for you, so let's get started. The first question is, how do I start attacking my evening carb and sugar cravings? I've tried fresh fruit, but I still find myself grabbing at least a cookie. So evening cravings, regardless of what they're for, often occur if you haven't had well-balanced meals throughout the day. Even if I have a great lunch and dinner, oftentimes if I don't have breakfast, I still find myself craving things late night. So first things first, make sure that you eat well-balanced meals throughout the day, plenty of fiber, protein, and healthy fats. Secondly, you often find yourself having cravings if you're thirsty. So definitely drink lots of water throughout the day. Stay hydrated. And if you've done both of those things and you're still having cravings, distract yourself. Go for a walk, play a game, watch a show, call a friend. Take your mind off of it, because a lot of times we reach for something because we're bored or we're in the habit of reaching for something. Yep. And if none of those work, oftentimes get rid of everything in your house. If it's there, you tend to eat it. And it takes a while for your body to be retrained. So make sure you can't reach for it in a moment of weakness, and you should be good to go.
Second question, after completing a challenge, can we have another level to reinforce the habit? Absolutely. We're working on a maintenance mode actually that will help you stay on track, because we'll check in on you every so often once you've completed the challenge and you've started the next one, because we know that once you start something, it's really important to make sure we enforce that habit moving forward. So look out for more information on that soon.
Third question, how long does it take to really get rid of your sugar need? Honestly, it varies from person to person. Many people say that within the first week of cutting out all added sugar, your sugar cravings are gone. The majority of people say that they're absolutely gone after 2 weeks, but it does take time to establish a new habit. So while cravings might subside after a week or so, it can often take longer to really get in the routine of avoiding those sweets, which is why we recommend you completing these challenges all the way through, about 45 to 54 days, depending on the challenge. Really solidify your habit. And you might notice early on that using a free pass will trigger that sugar craving. So if you need to avoid sugar, don't use your free passes for the first week or two until you know that you aren't going to be derailed, and then work the free passes back in. That way, if you have a cookie,
not the end of the world.
Not the end of the world.
Yep.
Someone says, your recipes are all very good, but take time to prepare. Do you have any 5-minute recipes? So it does take more than 5 minutes to cook most things, but
sorry
eggs,
guys.
Yeah, sorry to burst your bubble, but fried eggs, scrambled eggs do take a short amount of time. Omelets, great protein, quick to cook. Check out the Avoid Sugar Breakfast guidebook on thefoodstand.com for some fast egg recipes. We have a bunch of them there. When eating eggs for a meal other than breakfast, I love to have them with a green salad. Really easy to prepare, really fast. They're a delicious combo. If you keep pre-washed greens in your fridge along with a jar of homemade dressing, you can have a salad in 30 seconds, and eggs just take a minute or two to cook. That leads me to prep ahead meals, which are really the best way to make a quick meal. Salad ingredients can be prepped ahead. If you're not just having greens and dressing, you can add some pre-cooked chicken sliced up, beans, radishes, snap peas. It's summer right now, lots of great veggies in the garden to add once they're prepped. Cooked grains, goat cheese, throw that in a bowl, meal in less than 5 minutes. Soup is also a great one to cook ahead. Sunday soup, you can eat it all week. Some vegetables, really fast cooking, asparagus and green beans, you can throw in a pot of water, they're ready in 3 minutes. And then fish cooks really quickly. So if you put a piece of cod in the oven with olive oil, salt and pepper, broil that, it'll be done in just a few minutes. That with your green veggie, pre-cooked grains, you can have dinner really quickly. Piece of crusty whole grain bread if you want, dip that in the sauce. You can put vinaigrette on that as well. They also asked about keeping well-stocked, keeping a pantry well-stocked. Shopping takes time. I always have onions, garlic, sweet potatoes on hand. I can prep those ahead when I have time. I always have beans and different grains in my pantry. I always have a green vegetable in my fridge. Broccoli, Obviously, vegetables have the most nutrients when you eat them right away, but having broccoli in your fridge for a few days is better than not having any broccoli, even if it's a few days old. So I always keep those things on hand, can prep when I have time.
Yeah, one other trick that I love for shopping ahead and making sure I always have a kitchen stocked is frozen vegetables, because they actually retain the same nutrients as fresh.
Because they're frozen.
They're frozen on site.
Peak of their season.
Exactly. So, and frankly, frozen is pre-prepped. They chop it for you. You just throw it in a bowl, throw it in the microwave, and it's good to go. So that's my trick to make sure I have veggies on hand if I don't get to the farmer's market that week.
Absolutely.
Next question. Protein shakes work well for me because I need to eat breakfast on my drive to work. What's a healthy protein shake? So this is a really good question because I find that I'm always on the go and probably attempting to make the best decision. So most protein shakes on the market actually contain a fair amount of sugar or some other type of sweetener, and other things your body doesn't really need. Now the best option is to make your own protein shake at home with whole food proteins such as plain yogurt, natural unsweetened nut butter, chia seeds, almonds, and unsweetened almond milk. I usually add 3/4 cup of almond or hemp milk to the blender with a spoonful of chia seeds for the extra fiber. And either a 1/4 cup of yogurt or a tablespoon of peanut butter or almond butter, and then a handful of frozen spinach, going back to those frozen veggies, half a banana that's either frozen or fresh for some sweetness, and then a handful of berries, which also frozen blueberries, really easy to pop right in there. And blend that up, and that again takes just a couple minutes to put together. And the nice thing is that you don't taste the spinach as like a green thing, because you have all those other flavors, but it adds all the fiber you need for the day.
How much sugar is too much sugar in a granola bar? This is a great question and one that's a little bit complicated, so bear with me here. There are a few things to consider. First, there are true granola bars, oats, maybe some nuts in there, some sort of added sugar like cane sugar, maple syrup, honey, etc. If that's the type of granola bar you're eating, you can assume that the sugar content in the bar is from added sugar as opposed to intrinsic sugar. Fruit naturally has sugar in it. But in this type of bar, you don't have fruit, so it's all added sugar. Women shouldn't have more than 24 grams of sugar per day, added sugar. Men, no more than 36. A Nature Valley granola bar, for example, contains 12 grams of sugar. So for a woman, that's half what you should be eating in a day. If your type of bar is a fruit and nut bar, like a Lara bar, for example, frequently the sugar content is from dried fruit, specifically dates, and not from added sugar. So a peanut butter Lara bar has 18 grams of sugar, higher than the Nature Valley, again by half. However, the only 3 ingredients in that type of bar are peanuts, dates, and salt. So the sugar is purely from the dates. The sugar content's higher, but it's not from refined sugar. We definitely need to be careful of sugar from dried fruit as well, but I prefer the Lara bar because it doesn't have any added sugar. It's all whole food ingredients. And it also has more protein and dietary fiber, both of which help fuel your body. They help you digest the sugar, and they fill you up. So there's no hard and fast rule to how much sugar is too much. But when choosing a bar, I prefer to choose a bar without any added sugar, just sugar from the whole food ingredients. And make sure you get one with protein and fiber. So look at those numbers on the nutrition label as well. That's the best way to go.
So this is also a good question. The question is, I've made some mistakes in my challenge. What do I do? Now, the first and most important thing to remember is that nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, Anne's not perfect. And creating new habits takes time. Now, if you've slipped, use a full pass or half a pass and don't beat yourself up about it, because at the end of the day, it's really about moderation. If you run out of passes when you slip, you can always start the challenge again. Nothing's gonna happen. You're trying, and that's actually the most important thing. Now, the beauty of developing healthy habits is that over time, you're able to make the healthy choice the norm. What you do 80 to 90% of the time is really what matters most. And so I'm in the habit of grabbing a date instead of dessert if I want something sweet. But sometimes I end up having some ice cream or a cookie here and there, and that's okay too, because I don't need it every day or every week or even every month. I think moderation is the most important thing, and our challenges are designed to help you really achieve that.
Absolutely, and not beating yourself up is really important too.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing about building habits versus going on a diet.
Yes.
If you have a cookie and you're on a diet, you feel really off the rails and might grab another one because you feel like you've already lost it.
Yeah.
Whereas building habits, it's okay. You can do it again tomorrow.
Yep.
Is juice okay to drink or not? Another fantastic question. First of all, there are a few types of juice. There's freshly squeezed 100% juice, no added sugar. There's refrigerated 100% juice that was squeezed earlier, bottled. You might be drinking it a few days later from the store. There is fruit juice from concentrate, shouldn't have any added sugar either. It's in the frozen section. And then there are juice drinks, like Capri Sun, for example. Those have added sugar. They're basically sugar water. They might have 5% juice, but sorry guys, that doesn't count. So first you should always read the label, determine which type of juice you're drinking. If you're gonna drink juice, always drink 100% freshly squeezed juice. The nutrients leave pretty quick. So if you're drinking juice that was bottled a few days ago, it has far less nutrients than if it was freshly squeezed, which is important because that's one of the reasons why we drink juice. Yep. But that's not the whole story. Fruit in its whole form has a lot of fiber. It also has sugar, but when we eat a whole piece of fruit, we get that fiber, which helps slow down our body's absorption of the sugar. So we don't get a huge sugar spike. When you juice fruit, you're getting rid of the fiber. So
all the good stuff.
The sugar just goes straight to your bloodstream. So while it's better than drinking soda because it doesn't have chemicals and things in it, no added sugar, it's still a ton of sugar, and really your body processes it the same way as it would a soda. Huge sugar spike. So I would say if you drink juice, drink it very rarely, drink it in small quantities, and really stick to 100% freshly squeezed juice, so at least you get the nutrients. And I'll have juice if it's my neighbor's oranges that they're juicing right then. I'll have a little bit because it's a really delicious treat, but I really don't drink it very often. And if you're having fruit, eat the whole thing.
One other trick with juice that I found, so whenever I have big family gatherings and people are used to drinking juice, I tend to dilute the juice. So I'll get sparkling water, splash of OJ or a splash of apple juice, whatever it is, and that adds a refreshing flavor. It's not just plain water, but it doesn't come with as much sugar as just a full glass of, OJ.
It's also sort of like a homemade, good for you-ish soda.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Exactly. Okay, also, very good question. Can I eat something that contains brown rice syrup on the Avoid Added Sugar Challenge? Well, no, you can't. Sorry. Bad news. Had to break it to you. Yeah. So brown rice syrup is just another name for sugar. Unfortunately, there are many names for added sugar, which is part of why this is so confusing. And it really makes detecting which things are okay during the challenge really difficult. Check out our Avoid Added Sugar guidebook for a link to the 56 names for sugar. 56. It's not easy. The worst part is when you see multiple versions of sugar on the
ingredients label.
So some names to look out for that you might see: simple syrup, agave nectar, maple syrup, honey, high fructose corn syrup, date sugar, coconut sugar, molasses, and my most favorite, evaporated cane juice, which, like, if you think about it, is really just sugar, but they try to add more words and make it more complicated. So be aware of all these labels. Definitely check out the guidebook for the list and look out for those different terms on the label, especially when you see them multiple times.
Continuation question of that last one, is stevia an added sugar? Stevia doesn't have the same effect on your blood sugar levels as sugar, so it does not count as an added sugar, and you can consume stevia on our challenges. However, you should use limited quantities because unfortunately it can cause gastric upset and gas, bloating, all those lovely things you don't want if you consume too much of it. So don't eat too much. Also, make sure that your stevia is actually stevia leaf extract and doesn't have any additives, because some of the blends that you think are just stevia actually contain other sugars and chemicals. So avoid those, read the ingredients.
Yep. And you can actually grow stevia on your countertop.
I've never done that.
I grew stevia. It's super easy. Peel off a leaf. It's very, very sweet. So you have to get used to it, but you can dip that in your tea or chop it up and include it in something, and that adds natural sweetness without much effort.
There you go.
What's the best soda sweetened beverage alternative? This is one of my favorite questions because, big secret, small secret, I used to drink 4 cans of Coke a day.
I used to drink Diet Coke as well.
Yes, in college I used to have a 2-liter of a Diet Coke next to my computer. So this has been an activity of mine to try to replace my soda cravings. So my number one recommendation, sparkling water, soda water, seltzer, club soda, whatever you want to call it, that is the most important replacement for your soda habit. Water with bubbles is great because it doesn't have any of the added sugar, but it's sparkling, which helps with that fizzy soda craving. I think that definitely gives the refreshing, thirst quenching flavor that I'm really looking for. And also unsweetened tea is a great other option. So there's a bunch that are on the market. Just make sure you check the label. I only drink herbal tea after the morning because caffeine really interferes with my sleep, but you choose your own adventure on that front. One of our favorite tea options is Harney & Sons Fine Teas. They have some really great fruit teas you can find on their website that are delicious, either hot or iced.
Absolutely. And one other question off of that we often get is about the bubbles in sparkling water. People are concerned that there are some negative health benefits to your teeth, for example, of drinking carbonated water. I would say if you're looking for something to replace soda, switching from soda to sparkling water is a fantastic upgrade.
Yes.
You're not getting any of the chemicals, you're not getting any of the sugar. If you're looking to make that switch, that's what you should be concerned with first, not the bubbles. If you are concerned with the bubbles once soda is gone, don't drink sparkling water all the time.
Yep.
Mix it up, drink flat water, drink fruit tea, drink other things.
Yes.
But just to address that as well, because that has come up.
Yes. And then one other thing to be wary of when you're looking at sparkling water, there's a bunch of brands that are out there, but definitely check the ingredient labels.
Absolutely.
So Propel Water, for example, I think is one of these new kind of water beverages. But you look at the ingredient list and there's a ton of chemicals in that, as opposed to something like LaCroix water, which really just is sparkling water and natural fruit, lemon, raspberry, melon, whatever it might be. So definitely check the labels before you pick up one of these sparkling beverages, because sometimes they might be clear, but they're still full of a bunch of chemicals that you don't want in your body.
Yeah, and not sparkling, but vitamin water.
Yes.
While we're on the topic of water, is not water. It's
juice.
It's
Sugar water.
Sugar water. Also, it's not clear. That might be a giveaway. But steer clear of vitamin water as well. Can I do more than one challenge at a time? Currently, you can only do one challenge at a time. It's actually been shown that people are better at forming long-lasting habits if they tackle one element of their diet at a time. So we say tackle one, then move on to another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for your questions.
Keep them coming, and next time we do this, hopefully we'll be able to answer some more of your questions. And write us an email if you have anything else you want to say. We're team@thefoodstand.com. Thanks.
Thanks. This is very cool.